was born this way, can't stop my fire. I'm walking like thunder, nothing in my way. But when I see you standing there, quiet smile, bright eyes, my heart does something strange. How come you don't watch me now and feel me, feel me? You're the only one who makes me feel this way. Touch me now and hold me close. Don't make me wait, drop your love beat. Can you feel my heartbeat? Sounds like sugar. You clear away my gloom. Can you feel my heart go like an engine room? I don't need any other custom. Breathes up and flows inside my veins. Not a week went by without some flames. I think explosions are romantic games. Don't tell me that is strange. I'm the one that makes the whole world bright. Don't you dare think I'll ever lose a fight. And now it's my time to shine, setting it on fire. I'll make everything alright. There's something changed inside. I don't act the way I might, and I'm barely holding tight. Gotta show you right it alright. How come you don't watch me now and feel me, feel me? You're the only one who makes me feel this way. Touch me now and hold me close. Don't make me wait, drop the love beat. Can you feel my heartbeat? Sounds like sugar. You clear away my gloom. Can you feel my heart go like an engine room? I don't need any other custom. This midnight is a special time. The vibe's so good you can't deny. Don't try to run away from my fire. How come you don't notice? Oh my, but something changed inside. I don't act the way I might, and I'm barely holding tight. You need to know me alright. How come you don't watch me now and feel me, feel me? You're the only one who makes me feel this way. Touch me now and hold me close. Don't make me wait, drop the love beat. Can you feel my heartbeat? Sounds like sugar. You clear away my gloom. Can you feel my heart go like an engine room? I don't need any other custom.
Hello, and welcome to the stream. Last time we left off in punishing Grey Raven. Well, I mean, we started chapter 42, and so far I'm liking it. And yeah, no, I mean, that's all I have to say here. Otherwise, well, let's get straight to it. Now, I know it ends, like, at least this part ends at, like, node 15. Because, like, they're doing, like, it by parts for some reason, which is interesting to say the least, but sure. Okay. I'm for that. Jesus Christ, this is the fucking literature thing. Scattered across the sand lie metal bones and desiccated flesh. The crystal fragments catch the final threads of daylight that pierce the sea. A titanic mechanical tower rises at the end of the cliffs beneath the gray sky. Its punishing fire's purification system's dead, but its light still throbbing faintly like a dying pulse. Arya stands inside the tower. From behind him, a mechanical arm extends forward. Its knuckles twist at the wrong angles and presses against the core interface like a fractured animal limb. And here I thought I have to go down there myself. This is far more convenient. Dark crimson filaments balloon from the contact point between his fingers and the metal, spreading like creatures roused from deep freeze. With just the slightest probe, the whole system throws itself into his arms, eager as a dog welcoming home its long-departed master. It's been a while. In the radiant golden age of human civilization, all of this was his, so Piliad obedience was only to be expected. Now, as his full privileges unfurl, every point in his memory cracks open, or every port, willingly or by force. Data surges toward him from every reach of the ocean, turning his spine into a riverbed of information, and deep inside of his body, the Hapsarafe slowly stirs to life. They were started the repeated replacements of the southern node Fenrir. Two teams made it through intact. How touching. The resilience of humanity never fails to move me. Oh. Alright. Mara, you made it! The wind catches Mara's short hair as she steps off the cable layer Vega. She is not surprised. Someone has already arrived at the southern node before her. When we evacuated this place, I never thought I set foot in it again. You already started on the repeater replacement? Inside the node, silence rings. Decommissioned repeaters sit stacked in neat rows within the recovery crates, each casing labeled with the Cosmo Technicians Union's identification tags. Ooh. Progress looks solid. Her eyes land on the wall behind the recovery crates. An old carving runs across its surface, weathered by time. Mara? She gazes at the old carving for a long time, her thoughts unreadable. Alright, everyone back to work. The sooner we finish swapping these repeaters, the sooner military columns come back online. Have you examined all the pulled repeaters? Yes, we ran each one through the new automated inspection protocol after removal. I'll do a second pass. The old procedures may be obsolete. This old-timer, however, is not. She connects the verification equipment to her repeater's main port. As the protocol initializes, she lifts her head and looks once more at the carving on the wall. Then she reaches into her toolbox, pulls out the plainest screwdriver, and leaves a mark of her own. The leaden sky casts its muted light over everything. The carving, the restless sea, the silent and busy technicians. Those restless data streams deliver every action of the insects to a watcher far away. Yes. Pour everything you have into restoring that fiber optic system. Every new repeater you install will pave the road ahead for me. One after another, the son of the node's repeaters are swapped out according to his anticipated rhythm. Every fresh unit is a tame listener. Obediently funneling all it captures into his waiting grasp. The more repeaters he controls, the more fluidly the information flows into him. Feast. The whole world is open up to you. Devour it all. Let this information fuel your awakening. The dormant Hapsarafe within his body gradually begins to stir. Its pulses come labored and slow at first, separated by aching voids that shrink with every beat. It compresses, breaks apart, then compresses once more. A glutinous stomach digesting the neural network of the entire ocean. Once you gather your strength, follow the veins of the cable network and wake your other half. Washed by cascading data, the half Saravhe buried in areas begins to wake. Its stirring sends a pulse through the information torrent, deep into the base of the dam, calling the sleeping other half to readiness for reunion. When the northern and mid-range nodes complete their scheduled replacement, when the whole Atlantic submarine fiber optic network lies in its grasp, absorbing the awakened other half will be nothing but a waiting game. A complete and powerful understanding. A second hand crawls up from behind him, coming to rest on the pale face of Arius. Are you pleased? You should consider yourself fortunate to stand here and witness this. All unfolds as suspected, aside from the small irritation of sand biting into his skin. In the screen's periphery, an inconsequential warning flashes, the way a sinking victim's hand claws at the air. Oh. Still thrashing about. I've been away too long. The seas have grown cluttered with too many strange things. I want to become a monster. Those were your own words, if memory serves. It hurts, doesn't it? The despair must be exquisite. Hold on to it. Madness and hatred are such a potent source of power. The alert only pulses faster, more erratic with every blink. I will craft a fate worthy of you. Allow me the privilege of being your creator. After all, you have nothing left to lose. So let a part of me illuminate the path forward. He presses his fingertips further in. The fish arrive then, carrying new information. Across the water, the whale's limit pierces the ocean's shield and finds its way to the deepest folds of the construct's mind, grazing the dormant cracks within. Her mind has been activated? Splendid. I need her to become what she once was, what I need her to be, and then, at long last, I can... That mocking smile of Aisling's cuts across his mind. Become holy myself. Control of the cable system gives him open access. The Atlantic Eye's protective barrier might as well be brittle parchment. He finds what he seeks without delay. The current hydrodynamic energy system, one of the megastructure's energy cores, a system built to direct ocean currents and regulate water temperatures. Despite advances without deviation, in the end, the ocean spreads beneath his feet, conquered. That defeat may have stripped me of everything, but to me, this place is a door that never closes. Arius sweeps his fingers through the empty air, redirecting the currents and adjusting the sea's warmth. The current hydrodynamic energy system stirs, its machinery engaging without a sound. I don't mind using the ruins of yesterday to adorn today's triumph. The current veers by a fraction of a degree. The surface warmth rises at a crawl, too slow for human satellites to catch, too faint for buoys to catch warning, to cry warning. I don't know what this is. Yet the sea's creatures know. Far across the ocean, Fish schools change their ancient migration paths. Deep-dwelling things flee their homes in a frantic exodus. Even the dullest reefs crustaceans seal their shells tight. Raise a storm for me, Atlas. Years ago, that storm drowned all of his ambitions and washed away even his name. Let this storm feed the Seraphe boundless energy. Let it carry my life's work to the conclusion. The Seraphe energy beneath the dam has slumbered silently for far too long. It craves the storm's raw power to reclaim its supremacy. Ooh, that's really good CG. As Arya steps onto the sand, the red tide seeps upward to every crevice. The corpses littering the interdial zone shudder at the crimson touch, and under the washing waves, life returns to dead flesh. Arius turns his palm. The great whale's skin splits along its spine, the tear climbing down the length of its skeleton with a wet, dull sound of torn leather. New crimson flesh spills outward, writhing into the sea like a nest of living tendrils. A newborn hetero creature claws free of the old carcass. It turns its malformed head, eye socket still growing and dripping red slime, and fixes its hollow gaze on the crater waiting on the sand. Now go. Arius lifts a hand, tilting his fingers faintly toward the distant water. The newborn whale pivots without hesitation and swims away, following the red tide as it spreads across the sea. We shall be on our way as well. Gray-blue swells pile in from the horizon like the rigid backs of monsters. Arius mounts the original whale's spine, and where wind meets the waves, the creature's spray rises as a fine crimson mist. Deep into the night, a strange hum jolted Mana M1A from its dormant state. It was a low and vicious tremor rolling in from the shore that pinged across its sensor array. The frequency fell outside any familiar monitoring band. Monitoring units were marine engineering robots developed by the Transatlantic Economic Community for ocean operations. Built to various sizes and functions depending on their purpose, they have been vital machinery in constructing the Atlantic Eye. The N1A was a rare variant within the series, the largest and most comprehensively equipped. Flag entry recorded. The marine engineering robot raised its head above the waterline and turned its sensors toward the distant land. There was little wind that night. The sea lay flat and still, the swell swirling along unhurried intervals. Normal? Anomalous? Since none of the established alert conditions were triggered, Eternal Logic advised M1A to maintain passive monitoring and continue recording. No additional response was required. No action required. Its head dipped below the surface. After a full minute, M1A eased back up through the water, its optical sensors swiveling with deliberate caution, scanning every direction. No anomalies detected. No action required. Two minutes later, M1A dispatched the log to its direct supervisor. The data did not have to travel far. In roughly the same patch of ocean, the freshly appointed overseer of the deep sea database picked up the terminal that had so rudely shattered her sleep. Advisor Cordelia, you have a behavioral log flag for review. A behavioral log? Right now? Cordelia stifled a yawn. It was only their second day at the Rainbow Bridge base, and the facility's central AI was the one to pull her from sleep. She rubbed at her eyes and started going through the log entries line by line. Going by standard procedure. Everything looks fine. Apologies. Hey, don't get discouraged. I believe you. I'll keep an eye on things, alright? The young woman let herself fall back onto the bed. Mana M1A, your logic circus told you no action was needed, but you sent this up to me anyway. You know what that means? Your algorithm training has been paying off. Your processing model is evolving. Is that a good thing? Of course it's a good thing. In human terms, you're growing. I'm gonna grant you higher processing privileges, okay? Now, what should I call you? Do you have a name? Mana, M1-A. Destination, 7653982. Destination's not really a name. I mean, that's just a human perspective. If you like your destination, that works too. Though, it feels a little strange for me to say. I don't like it. I don't dislike it. I don't understand the difference. Are you saying I need a name so I can answer when you call me? Cordelia blinked, momentarily taken back. Wow. That's almost romantic, but you know what? I think you just figured out the whole point of names. A name makes you someone who can be recognized and remembered. It's where every connection starts. You can totally go by 7653982 if you want, as long as it feels like who you are. That's all that matters. Who am I? See, the whole who am I thing almost always starts with a name. Who am I? The Transatlantic Economic Community operated countless M1A units. The destination 7653982 was nothing more than a randomly generated unique identifier. Take your time with it. Your cognitive model is maturing. You'll find a name you actually like. Letting clouds massed along the horizon, pale light slipping thin through the seams. Cordelia shut off her terminal and buried herself back beneath the blankets. A few hours later, she already pushed the strange ocean engineering robot from her mind. The Rainbow Bridge base was a small outpost harbor, perched on a rocky island along the Mid-Atlantic Range. Jeez, this is life. Waking up with absolutely nothing to do. Okay, stop squirming. Let me see that. She stood by the mooring bollard. One boot planted on her toolbox, on one hand firmly pressing down on Larson's head as she flipped through the notebook with clear impatience. Wait, this is poetry? This? Afternoon light fell across the base harbor. Drawn long and thin by the northern latitude, Larson rested on the mooring post. Hand pressed over his eyes, a book open on his thighs, and a fishing rod held idly in his grip. Please don't. Those are just, exercises. Practice, okay? So that part's broken. Oh, and parts. Trash craftsmanship. They stag during assembly all the time. You seriously didn't know? Your practical skills need work. And, wow. This poem here is terrible, too. I'm Still, we're learning. Learning engineering? Yeah, clearly. Learning poetry. Cordelia rolled her eyes. Great joke. Seriously, audition for a Verity channel. I got into the literature program, but my father, everyone in my family, is an engineer. But what I really wanted. Yeah, I can fill in the blanks. Save the sob story for the cameras. The only reason I touched your little masterpiece is that you hid it inside to cover it deep sea geological structures and engineering respawns. I've always said Callan writes like a simplified genius and a caffeine bender. Obscure, dry, completely unreasonable. The people who don't understand it don't need it. Or the people who understand it don't need it. The people who need it can't understand it. Never thought anyone would actually buy a copy. So it's a beta switch. Callan's name is on the corner, Larson's poems inside. You've got guts, though. Ever since the Airhorns blacklisted Callan, nobody has dared to buy his stuff. And here you are, breaking the rules, you little rebel. A sharp edge of tension crept into Larson's tone. Don't freak out. Yeah, I'm an air horn, but Callan was my teacher. I'm not about a snitch. Don't give her the wrong impressions, though. She flung the poetry notebook back at Larson. Joseph derided his grip. The dampened party went back into the equipment box, and with a magician's flourish, she retrieves a drawing board and brushes from a concealed pocket. I don't care about any of this stuff. I'm just a family disappointment, remember? The useless hairs. But one cast that we learned two engineers who hate their jobs, their piece is toast. You're not useless. I was at the port. I saw what you did. That's not who you really are. Cordelia placed a little mechanical potted plant on the equipment box, looked out across the breakwater toward the crowd on the landing pad. Her brush touched the canvas. The potted plant hummed faintly, its operation soothing the old Dane inside her, and a breath escaped her lips. A soft breath escaped her lips, rather. Not who I really am? You don't know the first thing about me. Cordelia's sketch captured the seascape stretching beyond the landing pad. At the distance of the main passage that fed into the landing pad, the base's detachment captain, Oni, emerged from a side door. Don't tell me you volunteered for Christmas Day duty too. Volunteered, right? Command gives a damn whether we should volunteer or not. My folks are fine with it, honestly. So I check in and now and then, letting know I'm still breathing. But what about you? You're not even enlisted. You're just a sailor, right? You took a job over the holidays? That's exactly why we pays the good. Sailor spends most of the year anyway. Come Chinese, everyone wants to go home. Nobody wants to work, so the price goes up. Money that tight? Kids in school. FOS, actually. A trace of pride flickered across the middle-aged man's expression. FOS. Damn, that's impressive. Yeah, she's something else. My girl there. We didn't kill her yet, boys. Once she's out of FOS, she'll still probably outrank me in half the time. The sailor held out a cigarette. Oni accepted it and slid it carefully into his cigarette case. Well, since you put it that way, Sonic, how about you join me? Next time, maybe. Someone's got their eye on me lately. I could just get away with this solo smoke. If I'm careful, but two of us, they're just asking to get caught. They shudder, laugh, and wave each other off. The sailor bled toward the far side of the deck, a cigarette hanging from his lips. What are the princesses and the clueless rookie up to? Fishing, huh? I'll fit right in. Hey, rookie, get over here. The FOS cat Sieg stared blankly for a moment before pointed a finger at his own chest and immediately moved into position. Yes, sir. Captain Oni. Be my lookout. Your classmate shows up, you warn me. I've been watching all afternoon for this. Captain Oni, let me give you strict orders. No smoking until you're healed, and it's only been 3 hours. Oh my god. I'm so tired already. Who took care of you when you first got here? Huh? Has Captain Linda even lifted a finger up for you? Come on. Think about it. One little favor. That's all I'm asking. Captain Oni. Okay, I can't. You just roll over for her every mercy at any time, don't you? She patches people up. You carry a gun. How did you get so whipped? She patches people up. You carry a gun. How did you get so whipped? Captain Oni? Oh, what she's going on to you? Something embarrassing? A slim hand plucked the cigarette straight from Oni's grasp. I was trying to tell you. Captain Oni, Lieutenant or not, in medical matters, you follow my orders. Oni gazes at the girl in the FFS uniform as she practiced, kindly grin before immediately turning to the base officers behind her, hands flung up high. Shit. Was that a swear? Did you just swear at me with that look? Alright. 3 hours. You're already crumbling? Alright. 3 hours and you're already crumbling. That's not the iron will of a soldier. With an amused tech, he finally stabs the fish. With an amused smirk, Gunner gave Oni a light thumb on the chest. Toughen up, soldier boy. You come here from a proud lineage. Your ancestors' will is in your blood. Ancestors? Will it work like back in 2060? Globalization of fast food have diluted whatever's left of the bloodline down to nothing. The name's all I've got. As two modern men from a small northern island, their futures had long since shed any trace to their ancestry. Can't save you, son. Orders are orders. A cigarette had been tucked into his chest pocket without noticing nothing. Only arched a brow and said nothing more. Everyone, stay sharp and stay quiet these days. She's almost at further heard. Won't be with us that long. Everyone stay sharp and stay quiet these days. She's an air horn. Won't be with us long. If she gets difficult, just bite your tongue. Oni responded with a dismissive snort, but then his brow creased and his eyes traveled across the landing pad. Oni responded with a dismissive snort, but then his brow creased and his eyes began traveling across the plant. Boss! Something's off! The sea was boiling. Every buried unease was satisfying, slow and unpredictable. The fish were the first to sense it. What's going on? A school of fish boiled to the sea surface, their silver backs flashing under the sun like a tide of shattered mirrors, flinging themselves shoreward in blind panic. Cordelia's terminal shrieked to life. Red markers pulsed across the screen. Warning after warning pouring in. Every single one coming from the southern Fenrir. Larson! Sound the maritime alert! What's happening? The current hydrodynamic energy system. Top level alert. Straight for Fenrir. The hub's lost control. Before long, the war at Rainbow Bridge was crammed with people. What is this? Deja vu? The base commander's voice was low and grave. Data poured across the screen like water breaching the dam, and the undersea monitoring arrays that were Tixon red, respected by sector. The Transatlantic Monitoring Network of red devices here is directly linked to the current hydrodynamic energy system. The current hydrodynamic energy system? The system that reports the Atlantic Eye directly? Doesn't track. Echo after another spat some of the monitoring systems along at a staggering rate. Line 1, temperature anomaly. Line 2, pressure is exceeded threshold. Line 3, flow control valve failed. Or valve. The airlock swelled from hundreds of lines and thousands and multiplying with a feverish, unchecked momentum. Oh. eyes can't keep up. Sir, surface distress calls are overloading the channels. Still rising. The data points to one thing. The submarine volcanoes are about to erupt in a chain reaction. And this is just the beginning. In the solid steps, magma and seawater collided with a silent determination. Colossal pressure surges lore through within the games. Yeah. Colossal pressure surges through stone and water at sonic speed, like rotating the current's steady rhythm. The ocean fell into a violent rage. This thing can break? Can we even fix it? Go out there. Fix it for me? If it's already this bad, we need to prepare the worst. A flood of analytics and alerts declassified over the War Room's essential security system. Cordelia's peripheral vision landed on Larson, who was pale and shivering with fear. She said so quietly. Sir! Comm queue's full. We're still waiting on a link with command. Stay on the lines. Boss! Distress signals are spiking! Locate the nearest source first. There's no official word yet, but everything we're seeing. Yes, put me as a nice little food. And the water still untouched by the alarms, a humpback whale breached the surface. Its dark body curved an elegant arc through the air, the seawater shattering to countless fleeting diamonds beneath the sun. Passengers aboard the linger cast in wonder. Ah! Look at that! The young woman let out a delighted gasp, pointing at the great beast suspended in the air. Her air forced face glowed with wonder, and she looked down at the chibi in her arms. The baby's eyes lay wide. They were a much clear, luminous gold, holding no curiosity, no fear, none of the flickering light that should stare into living graves. Okay. It's okay. It'll be okay. I'll get you out. Once we're away from here, you'll be free. The humpback had vanished beneath the water. The sea lay calm again, and nothing remained on the horizon but a bank of low and high charity clouds. The alarm sounded, shrill and unbroken, like a rusted blade across the snap, caught against the steel plate. We're not playing those games anymore. Are they? Oh. Are they onto me? Don't panic, quick Stork. Stay calm. Think. The young woman pulled the baby closer and ran to the ship's layard of mine. Then she punched against the surge of passengers and sprinted toward the upper dog attack. The Catarina was completely its final preparations. Before settling out into the screen, the operations had an idea. Never got that word so long. Karen was completing its final preparations before setting out on the rescue operation at sea. Port side left rafts! Check them again! Noise swallowed the deck. Supply crates collided and smacked the crow's few frantic steps. And only safety prompts rang out louder than the modified shots. Did I read this part? Okay. How many can the freshwater reserve cover? Run the windows, now! Planning on helping? Or those who just REMs for show? Yeah, that's a GTA 5 thing. On the bridge, Captain Gunner stood before the window. A stream of reports flowing into his ear as through the comms channel one after another. On the bridge, Captain Gunner stood before the window. A stream of reports floating into his ear. And suddenly, I mean, yeah, he had this model compliment what I was doing. Commander Gunner, classified directive on the secure line. But it's rained through Gunner's temporal simultaneously. The moment he recognized to encrypted frequency, his expression stank. His features tightening with each word. Hold on. Yeah. The bullets run through Gunner's terminal simultaneously. The moment he covered the encrypted frequency, his expression sank. Line by line, he read the directive, his features tightening with each word. All hands, listen up. This rescue op is scrub. New objective, the Atlantis Research Facility. Midway through checking the water light door readings, Cordelia's head snapped upward. Her heart started hammering against her ribs. No one hesitates. The crew acknowledged the shit in command and surged them back to their frantic activity. Rainbow Bridge Hopper. Damn. Can't even get out of the menu. Okay, here we go. Okay. In the prep bay, Larson received the deployment orders and ran his fingers anxiously over the surface of his equipment box. What about the ships out there? We're just abandoning them? Will anyone else go? Cordelia wore a troubled, tight-lipped expression. Orders are in orders, rookie. The current inheritor is at sail. Back at the base, Cordelia had been left behind, and she was giving Larson a thorough earful as he hunched dutifully over his workstation. Let's run to the maintenance checklist. She blinked, and then she spoke the verse she had quietly caught someone reciting before. Spine of Alloway. Can he hear it? The sharp snap of one boat twisted into the road's bone. Please. No more of my poems. I will take deep-sea geological structures and engineering responses at this point. Just please. Callan's book? Reciting that in an open channel? Yeah, like a scaredy cat, but you actually got some nerve. Hey, are you alright? He's violently coughing and pain. Shuddering breaths went on for a long, long time. Cordelia gave a small wave of her hand, and the mechanical potted plant rose into the air, floating gently into her arms. Are you feeling alright? You mentioned before about some kind of cybernetic enhancement. Yeah, because... Her voice caught for a moment. My family. Do you belong with me? Won't she? Or, we know. My family cared about me very, very much. Her lips twisted into a sardonic smile. To stay alive like this, my body went through some special modifications. And if it weren't for me, Professor Callan would have never been dragged into any of this mess. And if it weren't for me... Oh. Okay, I already read that. Sorry, I'm like... Ooh. In the empty special care ward, a pale little girl gazed out the window with a specialist, faraway look. Miss Cordelia, the injuries you suffered in the incident were catastrophic, beyond even divine intervention. I'm afraid conventional treatment has nothing left to offer you. But the family ahead is deeply concerned. The moment our experimental program broke through, your name was the first on our lists. I promise you, this new procedure will make you perfectly indistinguishable from any healthy individual. It will be nothing more than a minor special modification. Mr. Arius Airhorn speaks very highly of your courage. The girl turned her head, and she's at him with a strange, unreadable look. So, not even the gods could fix me? But... A sardonic smile carved across the child's soft, young fetish features. No! I beg of you? I said no! Absolutely not! Just then, the ward door was flung open and a young man in a light coat strode in. Kono-san's smile turned a fraction of more Genshin, his fingers twitched, and a message slipped out. Dr. Callan! Your reputation precedes you. A long last in the flesh. He reached out, smiling, yet Callan bypassed the gesture completely and plucked the data pod straight from his hand. Show me the modification plan. You know as well as I do, Miss Cordelia's body can't hold on much longer. We need to fix her at least. This is truly the best course of action. Callan packed quickly through the conscious modification plan. I have no objections to the rest of this, but this section where the expendable data is actually working, I have no objection to the rest of this, but this section, where's the experimental data to back it? These methods are unheard of. That data, well, we attained some rather fascinating results from a separate project and have to align with the Airhorn's family. Research interests only once more. The data, well, We obtained some rather fascinating results from a separate project. It happened to align with Eternal Airhorn family's research interests, so we borrowed a few. What project? Another venture fully funded by Chrono, Cecilia. Forgive me, Dr. Callan. That's strictly confidential. Okay, hold on. Oops. Oh my god, I didn't mean to. His expression was so perfectly natural that it seemed as if he simply let the words slip by accident. Naturally, I could consult Mr. Airhorn and have the complete plan made available for you for your review. Strictly confidential, but you just show me. Of course. A voice came through the terminal, and Chrono-san's expression turned feverish with excitement. Soon afterward, Callan was led into the hospital's private lounge, standing face to face with Arias. You reviewed the materials? What's your assessment? If every piece of data and theory holds up, the feasibility is undeniable, but the provenance of this research troubles me. A perfectly valid concern, and one not quite easily put to rest. Come work with us, Nolan. Fear and doubt are simply what we feel before we understand. If Cordelia's safety weighs on you so heavily, then join us. Help refine the experiment yourself. I believe your talents will contribute something unexpected to our efforts, and are doing so, grant Cordelia a future. Doubt still lingered on Callan's face. You're currently working on a quantum communication encryption, yes? Well, it just mentioned your name. Because when you're trapped in, like, sitting down on Power World or something like that, you get, like, an achievement or something. You're currently working on a quantum communication encryption, yes? Dominic mentioned your name before. Dominic knows who I am? We're a team. Though you're welcome to imagine a stronger connection between us if you like. We're quite familiar with your work. Your Man in Series robots proved essential to the Atlantic Ice construction. Shit. I didn't mean to. Cordelia's... okay. Yep. Cordelia's condition aligns remarkably well with this procedure. Do you appreciate just how fortunate this is? Dr. Callan, Mr. Dominic, and I have devoted ourselves to guiding human civilization toward the heights it deserves. We need others who share that purpose and take some time to consider that offer. Callan walked out with a more instinctive research files. Mr. Airhorn, is Mr. Dominic gonna arrive at this experiment? All he got was an indifferent glance. Cordelia never discovered what ultimately pushed Callan into Airhorn's team. She could not bring herself to ask, and the unspoken guilt that just happened. Yeah, no, I get you. I didn't want to be the procedure. Yeah, what you gonna do, buddy? I didn't want the procedure. Not at first. I was just a child back then, and, you know, children are afraid of pain. But everyone around me said the same thing. You have to live. You have to keep going, so I decided if I was going to survive, I'd do it with everything I had. And good luck with that. She remembered the way the light had streamed into the ward, clear and weightless, making it feel like everything was still brimming with hope. Cordelia, your body can't hold on much longer. This might be your only chance to stop alive. Stay alive? Mom said the exact same thing. I have to survive, but why? What's the point of living? Callan hesitated. Such a question had never crossed his mind as a child's puppet. Callan hesitated. Such a question had never crossed his mind as a one child would pose. And now, the young scientist stood there, unable to unable to offer a teach plain enough for a child to hold on to. The point is living itself. Breathing, eating, feeling happy about something, waiting for the sun to come up, down tomorrow. Well, every one of those things is a reason for living, Cordy. And if that answer's not good enough for you, if you really want to know the truth, there's always a big thing to fix. Oh shit. And if that answer's not good enough for you, if you really want to know the truth, then you have to live long enough to find it. Hey, Larson, if you ever find the answer to what makes life worth the trouble, write it into a poem for me. Me? Cordelia pushed herself in the memory and made a sour face. Actually, you're right. Never mind. I didn't say anything. I'll work at it, okay? Where a flash of youthful defiance crossed the timid engineer's face, and then he hesitated and fumbled to offer some comfort. Having a body is like a machine. It doesn't have to do the bad thing. I'd rather have flesh and bone. This body is all experimental progress and needs constant care. I'd like to say it's more fragile than a real thing. Larson found himself unable to answer, the words failing him completely. Where are you from? He gave the name of a small northern island. I see. Same hometown as the base commander? That explains why they didn't mind picking up a rookie. Okay. I'll be right back though, I'm gonna piss. Okay, I'm back. Alright. I'm standing up, by the way. So, this would be great. Okay, no. Yeah, we already read that. Larson's face flushed bright red. You're here too, aren't you? It's not like they just take anyone. A complicated smile crossed Cordelia's face. Me? I'm different. I'm an air horn. Is there a single corner of this ocean that would say no to me? You're here because you studied under Dr. Callan. You're good at what you do. Cordelia remembered the forged appointment documents, and the complicated smile on her face soured into bitterness. The air horn name gets you a lot further than being some doctor's people. Look, I know engineering wasn't your dream, but I pulled your file. Your grades in the core courses were not bad at all. Though, a few of these... How did you almost fail? Miss Airhorn, please! Just go back to reading my poems. Huh? Alright. Back to work. Where were we on the checklist? Let's pick it up. Right. Larson pulled himself together and resumed checking the data in his hands. The reserves at 84% rated capacity. At current speed, remain in range approximately 2,800 nautical miles. Ballast water currently at 1,240 tons. GM value 0.91 meters. Stop there. Is something wrong? Given the declared total displacement, what should be the theoretical draft be? Larson ran through the numbers quickly on paper. Should be around 6.1 meters? Something was off. Cordelia had not cross-checked the precise data, but judging the vessel's trim and the waterline against the hull, the actual draft ran noticeably deeper than the theoretical values. The ship had to be carrying something far beyond what the manifest record. Larson, cross-check the rest of the manifest. Look for anything that doesn't match up. All of them? Where do I even start? Food stores, spare parts, or... Start with weapons. Pull the ordnance manifest. On it. Larson pulled the records, pulled up the records without delay. Cordelia scanned the list from top to bottom. The initial items looked standard, yet as she continued, the irregularities grew harder to ignore. M128 heavy wire-guided torpedoes, Nuke-9 depth charges. Barely any rescue supplies to speak of, but enough heavy weapons to start a small war. God. Is this a rescue? Or are we sailing into war? The rookie engineer grasped the seriousness of what they were seeing, and all color drained from his face. That's enough in the cargo. Larson, can you pull the ship's comm logs? I don't have that kind of clearance. The chair was dragged across the floor on the other side. The young marine engineer learned himself into it, rose again, and finally returned to his place before the workstation. Alright. I could try going to the maintenance back end, and
theory, I'd be able to access the raw transmission logs. But if anyone catches this, then I did it. That's not exactly reassuring. Just do it. Okay. Moments later, the communications log spread across Larson's screen. From what I've seen, no distress signal from Atlas. I checked 5 times. Not just no distress signal, there's something from Atlantis, not even a single transmission. Of course there was nothing. At Rainbow Bridge, the pale light of the holographic display cast across Cordelia's passive face as she scrolled through Atlantis' external logs, access with the Aragorn family clearance. Atlantis was still in its submerged cruising phase. So what was the Karen? The ship flying the flag of a rescue operation and headed straight for Atlas, shortly after. Or Atlantis, not Atlas. Nothing good. That much I'm betting on. I'm not gonna skip it, but I'm gonna see the summary. Whoa! Shit. Okay. Again, I'm not skipping this. I'm just like curious to see what the summary is. On the bridge of the Karen, Linde, methodically delivered the current navigation status report to Captain Gunner. Captain, current speed 13.2 knots. Fuel reserves holding steady. Stay sharp at the sea state alerts. The ocean's falling apart out there. And we're throwing every man. We got a bunch of lab coats stuck safe and sound in their research base. Guess not every life weighs the same on the scale. Oni! The base commander silenced him with a stern, cutting voice. A soldier's duty is to complete the mission. Linde's face betrayed nothing as she kicked Oni's legs off the back of the Sig's chair. Sig scratched his head awkwardly. Stop acting like a brat. Someone was at the door. Larson poked half of his body through the doorway, his mouth opening and closing with nervous hesitation. Captain Gunner? Engineering advisor Cordelia requests your attention. She's asking you to switch to her comm channel. Huh? Huh. What does the princess want now? Linda delivered another swift kick to him. Larson's gaze darted anxiously from face to face, and he looked ready to pass out at any moment. She got you playing messenger now, rookie? Sig. Switch the channel. Commander Gunner, I hope I'm not interrupting. There's something that falls under my role as the engineering advisor, but it doesn't quite feel like my place to ask. May I? Miss Cordelia Airwood. I doubt you hear the word no very often. And I don't intend to change that. Not with the family name you bear. Go on. I heard far worse of the bloods. You're wasting your breath. Now, answer me this, Captain Gunner. Why is the Karen carrying firepower well beyond the declared manifest? Where are you really going, and what exactly are you planning to do? We're heading to Atlantis to execute our mission. You're the engineering supervisor. Nothing more. Leave command decisions to me. Then give me a reason I can believe. All weapons loadouts for this mission were assessed and approved. We're following orders. That's it. I wonder, do your loyal crew members know what those orders actually are? You! You do well to watch your tone with the captain on duty, Miss Airhorn. Oni straightened his posture, his eyes flickering with confusion. Captain Gunner, you climbed the ranks of the Transatlantic Joint Fleet, private all the way to captain. No one questions your record as a soldier. Right and wrong. A man like you should still know the difference. I checked the logs of similar rescue missions. The loadout this time, it's way beyond standard protocol. Sir? Are we really gonna rescue anyone? Captain Gunner, I hear you've been filing transfer requests back to the Arctic Route Union for 5 years now. None of them ever went through. What are you implying? That I cut some dirty deal? No! You're not the one I suspect, Captain. It's the Airhorn family I don't trust. I know exactly how they calculate human lives into necessary costs. Better than you ever will. Dressing up something ugly in noble words. That's always been their specialty. And I happen to carry their name. I spent my whole life watching people get erased under the banner of the greater good. I don't want to watch you, or anyone on the ship, walk into the same trap. You're the captain. Every choice you make ripples through everyone under your command. Larson comes from the same northern island as you, the home you're trying to go back to all these years. Look at him. I know your beliefs. I know the sagas about honor, glory, and battle. Now, look at this young man at the right in the eye and tell me, is what you're about to lead him into something righteous? Gunnar said nothing more, his protest dying on his lips. A classified order came through my terminal. Linda's head jerked upward. Enter Atlantis under the cover of a rescue mission. Secure all personnel and research assets. Use of force authorized if necessary, or use of force. Yeah, okay. I'm terrible at reading. That sounds about right. Exactly their style. A brief dark stillness fell over the bridge. Gunnar took in the sight of Linde's pursed lips. Oni's knit a brow, the flicker of uncertainty on the younger crew members' faces. We're leaving it. People gonna die out there? So we're gonna go rob a bunch of eggheads? Because the higher ups want control? Want the research? Captain Gunner, they're using you. All of you. You're just pieces on their board. Anyway, these are the orders I received. But when we raise our weapons and face an innocent, we still have the right to aim a little higher. Captain, we're not machines built to enforce tyranny. Boss, the sea's a mess out there.
Communications are spotty. Wouldn't it be hard to argue we never got the order?
No disrespect, sir. Defying orders means a court-martial. You're all ready to throw your futures away? Sir, I didn't go to FOS for a future. And I didn't come here for
one either. The young cadet had eyes as clear as the northern fjord.
It's winter now. The rescue window is closing fast. Distress signals
Around Raven Bridge are flooding in. Several times past any record we have. Sir,
almost out of time. The young Marine engineer looked around the room. They spoke with clear hesitation.
we're
soldiers, aren't we? All the young service members shifted their gaze to Gunnar. Larson's question hung in the air, unanswered.
Gunnar bowed his head and released a deep, heavy breath. Linde,
Sia, Elning, soldiers Gunnar had commanded for years. Not one of them stood with him now. They only watched the captain in silence. Gunnar had never imagined a day like this would come. A day where every last of them was waiting for him to change his mind. Actions need reasons. Pretty words won't change a damn thing. Do you understand that? Boss, I still remember what happened 5 years ago at the Atlantic Eye. That accident at the dam? You were just running perimeter patrol back then. And I was barely more than a rookie on deck. When the call came in, you didn't hesitate. You told us to rescue the engineering crew first. And what did it get you? Everything at the Atlantic Eye is classified. They stabbed you with a confidentiality breach and stuck you at this post for 5 whole years.
sounds like you know.
Sounds like you already know the price of defying orders. And now they hand us another bullshit mission? I still think you made the right call back then. You served under you all this time. You really think we don't know what kind of man you are? Boss, take us out there. Lead us towards something we can actually be proud of. Oni stared straight at Gunnar, his look unshaken. Under the weight of that fierce, burning stare, Gunnar dipped his head and adjusted his cap. After all these years under my wing, instead of picking up anything good, you just had to learn every last one of my bad habits. Gunnar's lips curved into a wary, yet deeply relieved smile. Log entry. Begin recording. Due to severe sea conditions, the Caravan's communication systems has suffered a critical failure. Contact with the command has been lost. Under the Transatlantic Joint Fleet Emergency Protocols, command authority transfers to the ship's captain. Effective immediately, priority is reassigned to maritime search and rescue. Odin sent his ravens into the mortal realm as vessels of wisdom.
But he feared they would wander too far.
and forget themselves in the distant skies, and never come home at all, serving wisdom from its source. But this ordinary man always had companions at his side, ravens who who showed him the way. The strength of a soldier was not meant for squatted power struggles. It was meant for a soldier's true duty. We do what we're supposed to do. For honor! And for duty! Or what's the right thing to do? Huh, okay. Even though I was slightly passionate every now and then, I'm like, huh, okay. Alright. Yeah. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some more water, and then we'll keep on going. Alright, I'm back. Noise adrift. In the still of the night, the wet, tearing sound of something gnawing through flesh, a bone travels far on the sea wind before sinking into the dark water below. The sea sways the ship on her course, and the waves sway the dreams of those aboard. Afternoon sunlight falls to the leaves, deepening the blue rippled glass table. Cotton candy and a banana split sit there, washed out like overexposed film. A clown stands farther off, gripping a tight bundle of vivid balloons like a banquet waiting to be mailed into the heavens. Where is this? It feels so warm. She rests in the softest embrace imaginable, held by a woman with blurred features, humming a quiet tune. The world dissolves into a bright, weightless swirl of color that sways with a distant melody, rising and falling like the end of the surge of waves, until every sense is swallowed. I know this. I know this song. A song she must have heard countless times, and it leaves no mark in her memory. low, resonant wail call touches the remembered lullaby, swallowing every other sound until only a sharp, piercing ring remains. The frequency turns to Karina's mind once again. That cold, phantom grip tightens around her heart, squeezing her very soul. Relentless as a ghost, the nightmare is closing in fast. Ooh. Okay. It hurts. Beep. Meanwhile, you are dozing off at the helm when the quiet sea chart blinks with a blue alert. You have entered the destination mission zone. The Balder has reached the Jomanigar, a no-covered zone. An unfamiliar frequency slips silently into the captain's cabin. Karina's brow furrows as she sleeps. Some long dormant program stirs to life and begins parsing the signal, translating the droning hum into a sharp, distinct auditory feedback. The noise drives into her auditory module like a needle. The soft lullaby in her dream distorts like a vicious, grating noise. Karina jolts awake, her chest heaving with ragged breaths. An alarm was wailing from her terminal, and she cannot tell how long it has been crying out. Warning. FrameSync rate anomaly detected. Immediate action required. Lol. The clatter of falling objects sinks you from the shallow sleep. Without hesitation, you bolt toward the captain's cabin, only a few strides away. Katarina forces herself upright, but a sharp searing pain latent to her mind throws off her arm's aim, and she knocks over the bedside stand. Katarina! My head! It hurts! Katarina, light. Katarina. Oh my god, dude, I'm having a horrible time pronouncing her name. I'm just gonna call her Karen. Karen lays curled on the bed, her hand pressed hard against her forehead in pain. The instant she hears her voice, she reaches out on pure instinct, like a frightened little animal seeking comfort. Alright, let's establish my connection then. With the familiar mind connection locked in place, and exhale a quiet relief and start to carefully examine Katarina's mind. A jagged, stabbing pain shoots the connection between you. The ache pulses outward from your forehead, foreign and invasive. The moment she feels the harm bleeding into you, Katarina wrests herself free of the agony that cuts the connection herself. Wait! Don't connect with me yet. I feel it too. She runs a quick diagnostic on herself. FrameSync rates off. Mind deviation normal? How the hell is that normal? I'll contact the Science Council. It is the most standard procedure, but the moment the words leave your mouth, the reality hits. With communication still compromised, getting any help from Babylonia is nearly impossible. The last time something like this happened was the image of that strange mechanical pod plant, the one that soothed the anomalies in Katarina's frame, surfaces in your mind. Wait here a second. 20 minutes later, the captain's cabin is crammed with people. Katarina sits stiffly on her bed, the mechanical potted plant clutching her arms, looking for all the world like a young girl hugging a comfort doll after a nightmare. It's happy about that. The potted plant remains quiet, its indicator light breathing in and out at a steady rhythm, as if it has long accepted its role as a silent, clumsy companion. Katarina's gaze moves from the worried faces of her junior crew to Lucia and Lee immersed in the diagnostics. It settles on you with an expression of pure, sulking accusation. Not somebody like this. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Commandant, the results match Katarina's own diagnostics. There's nothing wrong with the frame itself. As for the noise, same as the whale call from before, none of our equipment registered anything. The root cause is in her mind, but there's no deviation reading this time. When you initiate a connection, the protection protocols flag it immediately. But somehow, this strange plant manages to ease the symptoms. Lucia, who arrived as soon as the word reached her, retrieves a mechanical potted plant from some forgotten corner of the deck. The moment you set it beside Katarina, her frame's anomalies begin to fade. Didn't the boss's frame take a detour through TAC territory? What if those guys messed with it? Sensing all eyes suddenly fixed on him, Larson freezes in place. I'm just a nobody here. You can watch me 24/7 if you want, but I swear I have nothing to do with this. Screw it! I'm taking that thing apart again. Crazy sale on... Crazy? Are you calling me crazy? And it's Katarina! Nah! Ryua! Nina! Nah! Rah! Nah! Radarina, my ass! Your name's Radarina! Your whole damn family's Radarina! Radarina! She's screaming over at a potted plant. A little potted plant that can't even talk. And here I thought the engineering force was a war zone because of the vice captain. Shut up! Shut up right now. Lee presses his fingers to his brow, looking worn down. The safest move is to turn back. Take Katarina and this pot of back to Babylonia, get a full workup done. Lucia's eyes move from Katarina to Lee, and she gives him a silent, negative shake. She's not going back. I can't just leave. This frame was purpose-built for marine engineering. How am I supposed to bail when things are at the worst? Everything's on fire out here. And this is exactly when the engineering force matters most. Some captain might be if I just ran. Katarina sweeps her gaze around the room. Besides, comms are shot. You really want to deal with calling it a return trip and scrubbing the whole mission? That's not who I am. Balder's only escorting part of the way anyway. Final stop's Atlantic Eye. You don't need to worry about me. I'll make it there alone if I have to. Katarina reels out a string of reasons in a single breath. But, Captain, your frame still needs fixing. That is just a little pain. Nothing I can't handle. Stop making a big deal out of nothing. As if sharing a single thought, Leah and Lucia turned their eyes to you. Grarion has faced this very situation more times than any of you can count. That fierce need to protect, no matter the danger to yourself. Every one of you understands that feeling from the inside. If the potted plant can ease the symptoms, we'll use it as a control variable and keep observing. We need to do this step anyway, even back in Babylonia. And whatever this new noise is connected to the whale call from before, we need more data before we can say anything definitive. As for safety, I'll do a full teardown and inspection. Katarina hesitates for a moment, then draws a deep breath. No need to tear it apart. We'll just monitor it. I already looked inside last time. It's Grandpa's work. Not just similar, I'm pretty sure. He really made this one. I recognize his touch anywhere. Then it's settled. I'll knock out these repeater replacements fast, get military cons back up, and deal with everything else after. Katarina turns to look at you. Do what you think is best. I'm with you. With a look of quiet triumph, the construct girl lifts the mechanical potted plant. Ravania, your sorry little life is mine now. So, from here on out, you call me boss. Nah? You got a problem? Boss! Boss, Katarina! Caloria! Ah! I'm going to lose it! The sunlight sprinkles the sea with tiny shreds of gold. The barometer sails steadily across the blue, its hull rocking in a slow, gentle rhythm. From the highest deck, you watch the cable laying crew's vessel at work within a 2-mile spread of open water. Deep dive unit has reached the designated coordinates. Captain, request permission to commence maintenance. Henrietta's eyes sweep across the real-time data on her terminal. She parts her lips to reply, but a sun of swell dizziness surges through her, and the edges of her sight flare with a harsh white light. The world drains of color for a single second. She tightens her fingers around the communicator, silently forcing the rolling discomfort down. A few rapid blanks and everything steadies again. Captain? The crew member who looks back for Katarina's nod sees nothing out of the ordinary. All clear. Execute. On it. Ever since they pushed deeper into the Central Atlantic to begin the repeater replacements, the odd disturbances in Katarina's mind have grown steadily more frequent. Once suspicion's over, I'll have Azuma give me a full checkup. Katarina takes a long, steady breath and pulls herself together. Alphabet, pop quiz. Huh? You'd think you could swap in the second-gen quantum repeater and keep the first-gen unit intact while you're at it. Captain, even standard protocol? Isn't this brutal? Standard protocols for standard people. The engineering force has its own standards. The engineering force is a war zone. Remember? Oh. So, that's what this is about. You're terrifying, Captain. I told you to shut up. What's the situation at the Northern Node? Northern Node replacement is on track, Captain. We got real-time confirmation, but the southern node still nothing. Nothing? Is their comm equipment down? Did we try shortwave? Laser? The southern node, Fenrir, is where Mara's team is positioned. Captain? Put it simply, we lost contact with the southern node completely. Given the state of the sea right now, going completely dark is an alarming omen. Could be just lag. Military bands have been patching worldwide. Maybe we give it another day? I don't think we have another day. Can we pull the Northern Node's logs from the last few days? All anomaly reports get forwarded to Hell up north for review. If something went wrong in the south, it should show up there. I'm in the Northern Node's log cache now. Last timestamp for Fenrir, 28 hours ago. Status, no anomaly. We'll wait a little longer. Alphabet. Single status on the southern node every 3 hours. If there's anything, you tell me immediately. Me? You're the one with the most free time. Counterrater turns back and resumes monitoring the undersea repeater maintenance. Your fingers idly tracing the edges of a second generation replacement unit. On the translucent display, a 3D seabed map rotates in slow motion, with live data from the deep dive unit scrolling in steady streams. The repeater swap progress without issue. But as the day's work winds down and the final glow of sunset sinks below the water, the comms battle for the southern node remains completely dead. I hope everything's alright. I hope. But nothing is fine. One day ago. Rows of containment crates were stacked along the walls of the damp, chilled prep room. Inside one of them rested a faulty first generator repeater, just hauled up from the seabed. It had already been cleaned, labeled, and dismantled, yet the outer plate still bore stubborn traces of crimson crystalline residue, clinging like dried blood. Right then, let's go over it one more time. Years of scientific work had ingrained in Mara the habit of checking and rechecking their data. She had never grown comfortable with her newer procedures and still relied on the clumsy, meticulous methods she had learned in her youth. The results of her re-examination largely matched what had been reported earlier. Next, the quantum coherence spectrum from crystal decoration. A long pause stretched before she finally spoke again. Log. I identified an anomalous spike within a specific frequency band of the quantum decoherence system spectrum. As I'm trying to test at the same time. The spike sat precisely at the boundary of normal fluctuation. Most researchers would have dismissed it as an acceptable margin of error. Perhaps that was why it had slipped through the initial monitoring undetected. The safety assessment system had raised no alarm, but this was not the first time Mara had seen a spike pattern like this. It was the last time Callan had ever set foot in the Quantum Communications Research Center. This is a spike that shouldn't exist. Those were the last words he spoke before walking out of that lab. Mara tidied her hair again, took a steadying breath, and pushed open the door to the laboratory. Dr. Callan, your coffee's here. Oh, Mara, How many times do I have to tell you? Just Callan. Same old matter, remember? When did you stand a ceremony? The young man hurriedly took the coffee from her hands, ducked back behind his desk, gathered up a tall stack of papers. Mara stepped aside, a little at a loss, but tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear with a nervous, self-conscious gesture. Sorry to bother you, but I need all this destroyed. Would you give me a hand? Sure. Are those failed experiment data? It did not seem that way at all, because Callan's expression at that moment could only be described as radiant with excitement. No. This is a spike that shouldn't exist. My dear, it might be bad news for a quantum repeater project, but who could have imagined this? The word caught her off guard, and her eyes widened. Don't worry, your quantum repeater will be fine, but this is a miracle, Mara. I have to tell Arius right away. Yep, the young man pulled the door open and strode out. A spike that shouldn't exist! Mara stared after him, dumbstruck, as he strode out of the room like a sudden gust of wind. A long moment passed before her eyes, finally fell to the documents awaiting destruction. Callan's handwriting was wild and scrawling, and she seared every word onto that page into her memory. The coherence time measurement curve of the quantum memory showed a spike that should never be there. Normal impurity decoherence spectral were broad and smooth, but this one showed a sharp, isolated peak. Its position matching precisely the nuclear spin flip resonance frequency of a particular isotope. Some isotope. In the prep of the southern node, Mara snapped back to reality. It had taken her many, many years to finally learn the name of that isotope.
Ytterbium 174H3.
She had been chasing that silhouette for so long, and this is a truth she had spent just as many years hunting down. Log. Anomalous readings are approaching critical thresholds. Occurring on regular intervals, extreme caution should be exercised. Assessment, system safety, and validation criteria for this category are no longer reliable. Mara acted without delay, adjusting the brazen parameters, working to pull more pieces from the damaged log files. At last, she managed to restore a small part, recorded just before the old network went down. It's been here this long? Then when did it start? She needed more data to back up her instincts. I'm out of time. I need something faster. The most straightforward approach was to salvage an intact first-generation quantum repeater from the seabed and run a direct comparison. But under the current operational protocols, they have a purpose now, the ball. Any repeater pulled during the replacement would inevitably be broken down. Besides, they all have been heavily damaged in the crisis to begin with. And then I'm going to adjust the mic. Okay. There's a conspiracy behind this. The damage itself is probably part of it. New verification protocols, destroying evidence, Science Council, the Cosmos of Technicians Union. Which one? Mara's gaze settled on the second-generation quantum repeater still waiting to be swapped. She had been there for the entire journey,
from the labs of the Transatlantic Economic Community to the institutes of the Cosmos Technicians Union, through every stage of the first and second generation repeater development. These devices, intended for global deployment, shared a common lineage. The people, the core technologies, even the materials all come from the same roots. What if that anomalous spike no one ever cared about? What if it's in the second gen repeaters too? An icy dread shot through her spine and flooded her mind. If her hypothesis held true, then the colossal fiber optic network laid across the entire ocean floor, an information grid built by all of humanity's combined strength, had been carrying a fatal, unseen flaw from the very beginning. Every operation currently unfolding on these waters was doing nothing more than driving that long-hidden danger deep into the seabed. I keep thinking the world can't possibly get worse, and it keeps proving me wrong. Mara shut up from her desk and burst into the outer room. A trainee technician who had been nodding off on duty almost leapt out of her chair, barely catching the files before they scattered to the floor. Professor? Sean, tear down that second generator repeater and run a full diagnostic. The young girl stiffened to attention and delivered a perfect naval salute. Yes, ma'am. Professor Mara? Where are you going? She watched as Mara shrugged on her coat, pushed the door wide, and strode purposely toward the deck. Out to sea. I need a few intact first-gen repeaters. The sea wind wailed against the freighter node in the dark, carrying the wet, heavy reek of salt. It was a season when temperate storms showed their ugliest face. Dark, heavy clouds pressed down over the entire sea. Only when the sun begins to rise did the crisis of seabirds return some life to the world. Come on! Say something! Katarina shoves everything off the table in one go and holds Ravana upside down by its little feet. Oh, so you do have other expressions. I upgraded your voice module. You should be able to talk normally now. Go on, say it. Boss. Captain. Where do you think we're headed? Huh? Let's go get some fries on the pier. KCF, crazy sail on. Katarina slams her fist down onto Ravana's biosphere with a solid thump. Ow! Caloria! Boss! Captain, your greatness! What? That's not... Fine, I'll take it. Graryuman's two seasoned soldiers let out a long, silent breath in unison. Captain, latest sync call complete. Still no response from the southern node. Katarina puts down Ravana, her expression turning grave. A thick, oppressive stillness falls over the bridge again. She quickly combs through the northern node's anomaly log database, but finds no mention of anything unusual to the south. Commandant? Something's off with the mission reports from the cable landing stations. Let me take a look. Most squads that completed their missions successfully didn't mention any TSC technicians stationed on site. A few did, but noted the personnel were away on a temporary assignment. These landing stations are inside TSC territory, and their people just vanished? That makes no sense. And it doesn't follow reporting protocol either. But command didn't flag anything, so whatever is happening, it looks clean on paper. Lee, cross-reference the cable landing station personnel data. Go back 10 years. Understood. Running it now. The landing stations that surveyed this crisis, their TEC technicians started being reassigned 5 to 6 years ago. By the time comms went dark, all personnel had been pulled. Every record clean. Every procedure compliant. Hold on. Each individual entry looks fine, but when you lay them all out... We can't just look at the anomalies. Pull out the clean logs from the northern node. Katarina and Lee catch on immediately, sprinting to action. These logs from the southern node. Right before the old network collapsed, they were flagged as normal, but... Something wrong, Lee? 1 to 5% decoherence in the spectrum is technically normal and within the safety threshold. But these periodic macro fluctuations, they don't read like natural noise to me. I can't say for sure. Could be a hardware issue. We need to run further. All heads snap around. No one noticed it when it happened, but Katarina has already worked her fingers into the gap of her first-gen quantum repeater shell. With a single forceful wrench, the casing cracks open. Why waste time guessing around? Just crack the damn thing open and look. We engineering force types are pretty meticulous. We kept a few intact first-gen units around, just for situations like this. Thanks, Captain. And a single sweep of her gaze across the internal structure, and Katarina recognizes the familiar hand behind it. The neat, disciplined arrangement of modules, the specific way the components link together. Grandpa. Katarina runs her fingertips gently over the metal casing, then tucks away the brief warmth and nostalgia and shifts back into working mode. She brings up a portable quantum state analyzer, aims the probe at the entanglement source crystal, and scans each component layer by layer, as the internal structure takes shape across the screen. Her brow furrows tight. Something's off with the crystal. Katarina's eyes drop back to the repeater's interior. Bathed in blue light, the entanglement source crystal looks clear and pure. Yet within it lies something that does not belong. Lee, I need your help. The gear on this ship isn't enough for this kind of analysis. The results come back quickly. The entanglement source crystal has been doped with minuscule traces of special isotope, one that does not appear in any known database. Concentrations are extremely low, not nearly enough to alter the crystal's micro-level performance. It sailed through to every standard quality check and is impossible to catch during fabrication. The only thing it does is bump up the entanglement photon decoherence rate. Just barely. Still within the theoretical margin of error. Easy to dismiss as intrinsic loss. So it files under the monitoring systems. And that's the most likely scenario. Tangled pair generation and distribution stay unaffected, so the protocol reads fully operational across the board. And no one noticed for all this time. What's the damage? Quantum comms are supposed to be conditionally secure. But with this crap in the midst, that security is about as solid as wet paper. In simple terms, anyone who knows how to work the algorithm could reverse a significant chunk of the original encryption key. Are you saying our military communications have been exposed this entire time? They can reverse the full key directly, but with long-term statistical analysis, they can steadily reduce the key's uncertainty. With enough power, you can make a brick fly. All it needs is enough data. It's a probabilistic eavesdropping method. Oh my god, Lee. Lee is so back. Then, what about the second-gen repeaters? Who knows? If someone's been tampering since the first generation, I wouldn't be shocked if... Katarina's face tightens with focus. The small perpetuary grunt escaping her lips. You turn out the sound and find just as expected. The construct girl already pried open a second-generation repeater with practiced ease. The added extra reinforcement, a little tougher than the first gen. Same problem in the entanglement source crystal. And this generation ties into the standard fiber optics too. So everything gets caught in the same net. A sharp sudden ring floods her ears, and for a moment, the world plunges into total silence. Katarina shakes her head roughly, and the deadened sounds gradually stir back to life. My frame. Other than a few hardware upgrades I already knew about, I'm not seeing much else. But these are second-gen repeaters manufactured by Babylonia. Even the Science Council didn't catch this? Who the hell could fool all of Babylonia? If the repeaters are compromised, what about the protocol they shipped with? Leah and Katarina both turn to you. The Bundled Global Optimization Protocol. That came from the TAC. Everything happened too fast, we never finished our own version. A trap sitting right in front of us. Should we call it off then? Everyone understands there is no simple answer. Stop replacing the repeaters, and the global network stays paralyzed. Military communications left in the dark. Continue to work, and you risk handing the entire information backbone to an unidentified mastermind pulling the strings. Maybe we should ask the Science Council first? The southern node's already gone dark. With comms in the gutter, by the time the Science Council gets back to us from orbit, how many more people are gonna die down here? I'll make the call. I have authority for field decisions. The comms crisis has to be solved. That's why the engineering force is here. Trouble shows up, we deal with it. We have to neutralize the threat in the fiber optic network and restore the system. That's how we reconnect humanity and face what's coming next. Gramps had a pretty distinct style. They didn't change much between iterations. Most of the technical architecture carried over. I can figure this out. I can build a protocol relay, strip out anything that might be hiding in that back door, and block it at the software level. But the current protocol still can't be trusted. I'll handle that. When I left Babylonia, Teddy was still working on our unfinished version of the protocol. I brought it back up. Even better. Though cut down the time significantly. I don't know the technical details as well, but we can't push this protocol across the entire ocean from one terminal, can we? No. Besides the mid-range loop at Gentleman Gundar that we're handling, we have to deliver the modified repeaters and the current protocol to the southern node Frontier and the northern node Hell. That's the only way to take back control. Then leave the route planning to me. As for who goes to which node, all eyes turn to you. Lucia and I will handle the planning. Katarina tightens her lips and looks toward the girl at her side. Thanks. It'll be okay, Katarina. Her gaze is bright and certain, resting calmly upon the distant horizon. Commandant's here. Everyone's here. We'll get through this with you. I already know that! Who said I was worried? Alright, I got work to do. And quit worrying about me. Jeez, not like we're close or anything. And even if we are, it's just average close. So don't go acting all buddy-buddy with me. Lucia simply watches in silence as Katarina mutters her way out, but lifts her head and offers you a quiet smile. Ugh. Katarina, cradling the long, silent Ravana in her arms, makes her way up to the highest point of the ship. My frame's been acting weird. Are you really helping? Riria, go home. Not until the mission's done. She remembers Azuma's words from when she left Babylonia. What else waits her on this ocean? The ocean keeps its silence, answering only with the steady hush of the waves. Ho ho ho. Alright, one final note, and then we're gonna be done for now. Ooh. On the ship's deck, the cold drove the rescue survivors to huddle together, trying to wipe away the salt water and the fear still clinging to their skin. Pyroclastic debris from an undersea eruption had surged to the surface, and waves towering over 10 meters had flipped their vessels in moments. The base's rescue ship had only managed to pull a handful of survivors from the water. Most are holding up okay. Some injuries, probably hit by falling debris when the ships went over. Getting a full count will take a while. The distress call keeps coming. Are we really the only rescue team out here? Where's the air support? What the hell is everyone else doing? Oni kept his voice low, his eyes traveling past the gunwale to the gray, shrouded horizon. The sea was not always merciful. Humanity hungered for her strength, so they shaped the current projects into rings, hoping to tame her fury as one might break a wild horse. From children learning the rules, to sages who mastered them, and at last to new gods who rewrote them all together. Where's Alec? He was right behind us. He scanned the huddled survivors, looking for the face he knew. They were from the Fortuna, and they had been fortunate. A disrupted current had driven a mass of superheated water into the regular sea, swollen the hole into the welded seam split and seawater poured in. The breach was caught early. Almost no one was lost. But among the saved, his friend was not there. He's not here? Last I saw him, he's going to go back for his toolbox. It should have been Bass. Bob A152 already got it up to the deck. I can't find him anywhere. He didn't make it out? They exchanged a glance and said nothing more. Given how fast the hole had been flooding, the Fortuna had likely gone under already. Soon, the naval vessel's personnel began counting heads and cataloging injuries. Alec's name was added to the missing list. That was all. No one, not even his friends, was foolish enough to ask to turn back. The tally continued without interruption. A mass of dark clouds churned across the distant sea line, fast approaching. The sight spoke of a storm, but Gunner's instincts told him otherwise. He believed there was a warning passed down through his bloodline. Alright, we're loaded. Let's go back! The sea was speaking a warning. A gunner, a man shaped by a lifetime on the water, knew better than to ignore it. A blast of the ship's whistle flung a seabird skyward. The wind catching beneath its wings and bearing it toward a far-off horizon. The bird crossed above the half-sunken deck of the Fortuna. Down below, a Bop 1A A152 unit raised its gaze to follow the sound. Blood pattered down its metal arm. Sprawled on the deck was a young man in maintenance coveralls. His open toolkit beside him. Its contents littered the deck, the scattered echo of the wound torn through his belly. Ugh. Across a distant continent, celebratory salvos shattered into wails of agony. The calamity called the Punchy Virus extended its brutal greetings to the arrogant human world. The new gods, who had reached into forbidden places, were granted an invitation to the filtering. On the winds, atmospheric rivers brought new arrivals without end to these seas. Humanity had not yet healed from the wounds of the Atlantic calamity, and already the shadow of the Punchy Virus was seeping into the pulse of the world. Ooh. Gunner's unit had left first, and nearly all the remaining detachments were now scattered across the sea on rescue duty. Cordelia found herself working alongside Lumi out of necessity. Are these all distress calls? I've never seen them this dense before. On the monitor that marked distress signals, clusters of red dots multiplied with terrifying speed, crawling and pulsing across the entire sea like a malignant rash, consuming healthy skin. This is way past anything the system predicted. Something's not right. She had sent up transmission after transmission for 30 minutes straight. Every single one went unanswered. It was as if this stretch of ocean had been erased from the map, forsaken by everyone beyond it. Still nothing? I tried reaching our instructors at FOS too. I can't even get a link established. Lumia's eyes moved across the distress signals as it winked out one by one, like dying flaps of skin sliding away. Her lips looked clamped tight. Cordelia gave her a light pat on the head and pressed a fingertip to her knitted forehead until the tension eased. What's with the little old lady face? First apocalypse? Relax. You get the hang of it after a few. A few? What do you mean, a few? Lumi stared at Cordelia's beaming face for a few long seconds before it dawned on her that she was being teased. You can still crack jokes at a time like this, Miss Airhorn? You looked about 2 seconds away from passing out. Had to do something. Hey, Lumi, your theory grades are pretty solid, right? Help me out with something. I need you to filter out the automated alerts, standard format stuff, and pull anything that was manually entered. Manual entries? Why those? Then extract the keywords and analyze the information. Well, let's try to figure out what's actually happening out there. Or are you planning just to sit here and wait for some commander or instructor to tell you what to do? Cordelia patted Lumi on the shoulder again and gave her a playful wink. Look, Lumi, if this is an apocalypse movie, you don't get to sit around waiting for someone to hand you the script. Here, take a look at this. The virtual panel she called up wavered badly. Its display stuttering between light and dark. What? What am I looking at? Status map. Every hub node of the transatlantic fiber optic comm network. Normally, it'd be clean blue and green web. Instead, we've got whatever the hell this is. Looks like a brain about to blow a fuse. Lumi stared, transfixed, at the gray white blotches peeling across the display like shed snakeskin. But the system, isn't it classified? Huh? That's your takeaway? Fine, fine. I'm from the awful Airhorn family. I'm one of the damn elites. I don't care about clearance levels, and my access is high enough to get me whatever I want. That fits your spoiled Erna stereotype nicely. Cordelia pulled a silly face at the young girl. Relax. This kind of system is read-only for me. No touching. That's not what I was... See this? It's the first node that went offline. The last log entry is perfectly clean self-diagnostic. No error codes, no system alerts, it's just... vanished without a warning. 17 minutes before it dropped, a clear command appeared on the offline log. The node executed a manual shutdown. Only a node's direct supervisor has that kind of clearance. And this isn't just one node. Almost every offline node follows of two scripts. Either it dies without any warning at all, or it kills itself, fast and deliberate. No shutdown requires the highest clearance level of any operation. The speed and the scope we're seeing right now, it shouldn't be possible theoretically. And if a real disaster hit, the node should be opening up and screaming for backup, not going dark. So, what we're looking at, it might not be human action at all, but some kind of natural disaster? I haven't figured that part out yet. Could be something hijacking their clearances, cyber warfare, something like that. Whatever's happening, I doubt the mainland's faring much better. Probably why we can't get a comlink established. So... you want to figure out what caused all this? A dam explosion, the current projectors going offline. That doesn't explain any of this, of course. Cordelia's eyes lingered on the holographic map. Its lines shriveling like desiccated creepers. The seabird landed on the sill, shrieking. Lumi's attention slipped from her logging for a heartbeat. The bird's tail was soaked in red. Had flown far. All he needed now was a brief perch, a moment to comb the blood from its feathers. Blood? No visible injuries, so where did the blood... Yes. Hundreds of miles away, what was left of the blood source, half a torso and a little more, rocked the pale spume behind a cargo ship. The vessel was the Golden Apple, sailing from the Arctic Route Union, now creeping at 3 knots through a scattered cordage of limbs. Creatures that had once been men have been gutted by the propeller. The remains wrapped around the shaft, wafting underwater. A corrupted, one of the deranged machines, soon to be named so by a terrified humanity, leaned over the side and scanned the waves. It was haunted the human who had leaped for life. Below, a pale spine poked through dark red tissue like a broken length of cable core. The spray of blood from his severed body had shot high, and struck a passing bird. All that remained of him, beyond that floating wreckage, were those few crimson stains, borne aloft and carried far from the nightmare below. Then the bird landed on a sill at Rainbow Bridge base. Cordelia fixed her eyes on the seabird's blood-stained feathers, her expression unreadable. White Stork, where are you? Cordelia could not know whenever White Stork remained trapped upon the ocean or had already slipped away to a distant, unbound shore. Another piercing cry rang out as someone leaped into the sea. Inside the stairwell, screams and alarms wove together in a rolling tide, and every gasp of air felt vicious, as if the atmosphere had turned to sludge. The cold storage door, designed to keep everything out, swallowed most of the commotion, but the high, piercing scream still forced a way through the reinforced metal, reaching White Stork's ears. She was hiding in the deck galley's produce room. Near the door lay the frozen fish that the head chef had meant for the evening banquet, and the head chef himself silent forever. The sound of machinery splitting a frozen fish was not so different from the sound it made splitting a person. The blade bit in and spun at high speed, over the steady, orderly hum. Everything inside the belly was reduced to slurry. Perhaps that was the only difference. Fish are quiet, but people... Outside, the screams of our own kind erupted once more. Humans begged, shrieked, and fought for their last ragged breaths. The same shrill, grinding noise accompanied them, so close it might as well have been inside their own skull. White Stork shuddered involuntarily, her arms tightening around the baby in her grip. She knew that sound, before the cold storage door had sealed her off from the world outside. She had to watch a passenger get carved in two at the waist. Model Bob 8152. Rotation speed 447,000 RPM. Someone need to recharge soon. If I could just hold out till then, I can make a run for the captain's cabin and get a distress call out. Just a little longer. The Bob had been a capable all-purpose support machine before the Madden line took over. Right up until 3 hours ago, when I cannot read it. When it decapped its first human, it had remained the most beloved service robot available. Beep boop, I'm a robot. It was agile, brightly colored, and with a devout voice that popped up like an eager child. Until the laugh, it would throw its arms up and roll around in joyful circles. In the words of the barmaid from the back bar, it looked like a crazy clown. Now, it really went crazy. Every intelligent machine on board had snapped. People fled and clawed past one another, only to be caught and reduced to torn flesh, swaying from mechanical grips. White Stork had forced her way into the produce room and added her biometrics to the lock. The room, keyed now to biological signals alone, served as a makeshift refuge. The sugar spinning blades continued without pause. White Stork hunched her shoulders, her arms wrapped entirely around the baby. There was no hand left to shield her own ears. Please. Please, just stop. Go away. Get away from here. Get away from me. White Stork caught a glimpse of the baby's eyes. She was holding her so tight she could hardly breathe herself. Her arms clenched around the tiny body. The moment she realized, she forced herself to ease her grip. The strange child showed no reaction at all. Shh. The baby remained unresponsive. Still, White Stork treated her like an ordinary child, working her gently and pressing a careful fingertip to the baby's lips. The vivid colors of the produce around her glinted in her lifeless eyes. Beyond the cold storage door, the shrieks of held humans sounded in broken intervals. The creatures of civilization were being cold inside a steel ocean jungle, tortured by the very civilization they had built. Oh, so this is baby Katarina. It kind of just rocked on. I kind of just dawned on me. I'm like, wait. Now we have like an actual close up of the eyes and everything else around her. And I know that's Katarina when she was a baby, I think. Unless I'm completely wrong. We'll find out in the next 15 notes. Who knows? The baby girl only looked at White Stork, expressionless, motionless, silent as a porcelain shrine figure with blank, staring eyes. A vessel for a god, stolen by her. Perhaps White Stork herself had gone crazy as well. Then the baby's pupils gave the faintest tremor. Outside the door, the hurried footsteps multiplied, drawing closer and closer. Uh-oh. The produce room door was yanked open. It was a barmaid from the deck bar, and White Stork only had time to catch the wild terror in her eyes. She instantly clutched the baby tighter, using her arm to cover the child's face. Fuck! Don't just stand there blocking the way! Move! Move! You piece of shit! You're trying to get us all killed? Fuck! Open the damn door! In that fleeting glance, the barmaid understood at once the tiny room cannot hold more than one. Without a second thought, she moved to close the door. Oh! A steel bar smashed her skull in that second. She dropped, and behind her stood a man with murder in his eyes, flanked by a few other survivors. Hug it for yourself! Screw you! The crazy clown she used to mock did not end her life. A fellow human brought her down with a steel bar, just outside the door of her refuge. The man with the steel bar ignored her completely. He stepped over the barmaid's fallen body and stretched his hand toward White Stork, ready to haul her out. Get out! I'm taking that spot! Not everyone understood what just happened, but once the first hand shot forward, the second followed, then the third. The survivors surged toward the doorway, every single arm stretching out in desperation. Each hand moved with the crowd, driven by nothing but the raw instinct to live. Help me! Let me in! Ooh. Blast after blast toward the sea surface, piling fresh. Senseless agony onto the nightmare already unfolding. Holy shit. The scent of the sea had shifted, just slightly. Beneath the familiar salt and brine, the wind now carried something sharp and evasive. Oni sniffed at the air, a vague restlessness prickling under his skin. Lieutenant Oni, the last group of survivors has settled in Cabin 3. Injury reports are sent back to base. Lumi says we're short on medical supplies. She wants us to keep an eye out during the next sweep. Oni glanced at the young cadet and gave his cigarette case a few quiet taps. Stay sharp today, you got me? Huh? Oh, yeah. Got it, Captain. Silly kid. And that's just not meds. Grab food too. Whatever you can find. Oni's unease was soon vindicated. The second time he pulled out his cigarette case, the first mate's voice burst into the communicator. Commander Gunner, cargo vessel on approach. Bearing steady. No course change in accordance with Colerig. Call sign APL-0307. No response to hails. Attempting sense contact now. Keep hailing. Odie! Odie! Cigarette later! Get back here! We're turning! Oni tucked the unlit cigarette back into his case with a revealed grimace. Oh, what's their problem? Doesn't look like they're here to make friends. Check your course history. Any route deviations on record? Already checked. Destination port unchanged. Sits hail unanswered. Initiating 7th. She's still accelerating. At the speed, she'll hit us. We're running out of time to turn. Gunner's brows creased. The center of the sea had turned dangerous. The air, always so sharp and clean before, they carried a faint, creeping hint of rust. On the chart, the ship was still gaining speed, cutting a near perfect line straight toward the Karen. Hard over! Oni rooked the helm, and the ship leaned hard to one side. She's almost inside the perimeter! Fire a warning shot! A volley of small missiles shot for the Karen, skimming low over the clear water before erupting across the surface. The oncoming vessel, still gaining speed, swerved to evade them anyway, but those missiles were never meant to strike true. Sir! They're evading even the warning shots! Wait. They're firing! I'm turning! The vessel rolled sharply again, and its motion ripped through the air and echoed across the bridge. Amid the chaos, the comms hissed with static, a call coming through from base. Transmission incoming! Rainbow Bridge! Gunner! We have an emergency! There's a cargo ship headed straight for you! Sink it! I'm requesting emergency authorization to engage. Karen, this is Rainbow Bridge Military Base. Target call sign NPL 307. Sink it immediately. I repeat, sink it immediately! Gunner! Sink it! With a deep hydraulic groan, the primary gun turret swung around. It shifted in minute increments. Minute increments, setting itself to fit squarely on the cargo ship. The barrel's dark opening stared without emotion. The dark hollow of the muzzle stared back, the spiral of its rifling just visible in the depths. Superheated gas and flecks of unburnt powder vented from the sides of the barrel. The infant girl's pupils shuddered violently, and she lifted her chin a fraction. It was the biggest movement she had ever made in Wake Stork's arms. The bullet punched clean through the man's lower leg. He stumbled forward and crashed down, both knees slamming into the deck. This was the man who had first attacked outside the produce room. The woman who had fired the shot was gulping for breath, blood trickling from the wound in her scalp and threading through her disheveled hair. She, White Stork, had no choice left. In the face of the malice born of desperate survival, there was nothing she could do. Only moments earlier, before the shots and explosions had erupted, the crowd had surged into the produce room. Fingers tangled in White Stork's hair and yanked at her clothes, dragging her body halfway out. Protecting the baby meant she could not fight back, and the predators saw it. Their hands moved toward the baby. Not the child. Anyone but the child. A massive detonation ripped across the water. It was from the Karen's gun batteries, speaking on Gunner's order. Clouds of smoke and concussion waves rolled over the surface. Far off, the golden apple burned where the missile had found her, and all eyes turned toward the dying ship as she slipped beneath the flames. At the same moment, White Stork's bullet found its mark. The man who had been the first to attack. Get away! Get away! Get away! Nothing who knew why the golden apple had suddenly been struck down, just as none had expected a weapon in the young woman's hands. The last reverberations of the shot and the blast had died away. The barmaid lay crumpled in the doorway, her dark pool of blood creeping outward beneath her. The quiet was suffocating. White Stork's grip on the gun quivered, but every hand that had tried to haul her out now withdrew and disappeared into the crowd, like a stain vanishing into the ocean. All the ugliness and malice vanished right along with them. Each hand had belonged to someone ready to survive at another's expanse, and none of them thought themselves guilty. They were also the woman who had laid a coat over her shoulders, the young man who had pointed her in the right direction, and the woman who had told her what temperature the baby's formula should be. Desperation and disaster had crushed something fragile and precious in them all. All of you! Get away from me! This quiet, weightless sorrows she had carried spilled over, turning into tears, escaping before she could stop them. She lowered her face, let the cloth of the baby's blanket catch the moisture, and pulled herself back into the shelter of the produce room. The control systems are going down level by level. We tried shutting them off from the top, but Patalonia's faster. She doesn't need authorization. She's going to kill. Ah! And that was a distress call from an offshore drilling platform. Bartolana is their central AI. Don't bother writing that name down, Detective Lumi. Detective? Miss Airhorn, please be serious. Serious? Alright, Lumi, how many AIs have you logged so far that are busy slaughtering humans? Cordelia, exhausted, exhaled a quiet sigh, her face settling into a grim expression. Lumi ran her eyes over the transmissions, each one classified and recorded by her own hand. Don't trust any of them. Bop's gone crazy. Bop A152, the most common general-purpose robot on the Atlantic routes. Please, the machines have all gone mad. No, don't hurt me. Someone help. Summer camp trip. That ship was full of kids. Machines, madness, and killing. The pattern's clear. We're in the middle of a machine uprising. Is it some kind of malfunction? Feeling the weight of the moment, Lumi squeezed her eyes shut in pain. Keep working, Lumi. We're the ones who have to unravel this apocalypse. Cordelia's face remained unchanged, her work proceeding with apparent composure. Between checks of the data, her fingers tapped an unconscious rhythm against the tabletop, betraying her true state. She had grown too used to hiding behind jokes, yet humor born out of fear did nothing to quiet the fear itself. She shook her head, tilted her face toward the ceiling, and felt her heart slowly swallowed by dread. From everything we have, this looks more like a virus. One that targets intelligent machines. A plague that could bring down an entire industrial civilization. Contact APL 307, bearing 107, speed 35 knots, closing. Issue warning. A sudden blare from the radar alarm jolted Cordelia from her thoughts. Closing? Closing on what? On the Karen. This is the base escort radar. It's tracking the Karen! Cordelia strode quickly to the main radar console, and a single bullet had surfaced on the horizon, closing at a speed no cargo ship could match. It ignored every hail of the base and broadcast no identification code, driving toward the Karen with a single-minded purpose of a torpedo. I'm sending a warning now. A warning? that thing's last registered ID was a cargo ship called Golden Apple. Now it's loaded with guns and outriding military vessels. You really think a warning's gonna do anything? Its AI's gone mad too. Thinks it's a torpedo. Thinks it's a torpedo now. Apparently. Creative, I'll give it that. Cordelia drew a long, steadying breath. Lumi, sink it. What? But if we don't, it's going to T-bone the Karen, and then we have 2 wrecks instead of 1. But I don't have clearance to fire! The girl practically shrieked her words out. Contact. Val 001. Bearing 307. Speed 25 knots. No response. No ID. Approaching base. The central AI sounded another alarm. This time, a warship was bearing down on them, and the target was the military base where the 2 of them stood. Incoming transmission received. Decoding. Playing now. A blood-streaked face filled the screen. Rainbow Bridge. This is Cruiser Boulder. Sink us immediately. Boulder's AI is compromised. It's attacking everything on the surface. No exceptions. Our engineer overrode the speed limiter before he died. By our heading. Here are the closest guns. You can sink us before it's too late. The machines on board went berserk. Everyone is dead. There's no one left to rescue. Don't wait. Before you're inside the Boulder's firing envelope, shoot us down. I've transmitted the engineer's final logs and data with this message. I hope... A sickening screech of grinding metal rang out, and before the 2 girls' eyes, a massive mechanical crab claw seized the blood-soaked officer by the waist and lifted him into the air. The young officer, already broken beyond saving, did not fight it. His hand moved faintly, reaching for a final salute he had no longer had the strength to finish. I salute you, my fellow humans. The transmission cut out without warning. Blood-smeared face, still caught in the smile, vanished from the screen, frozen all over by the monstrous iron claws of a Manon 4. Frigga! Fire! Error. Heavy weapon access denied. Cordelia slammed her palm against the console, biting down on the swear words right in her throat. Lumi! Patch me to the Karen. On it! They must already see the golden apple acting strange. But they don't necessarily know how bad strange can get. The light feed from the Karen flickered onto the screen. The infected cargo ship Golden Apple wore no mask over its hostility, and the crew of the Karen did not waver. Commander Gunner gave the order to sink her immediately. Amid the thunder of cannons, the Golden Apple marched into its grave. Using live communication channel between the base and the Karen, Cordelia found her opening the moment the cannons roared. She punched through a vulnerability and hijacked a privileged access account. To steal treasure from the grip of a devil, she had to steal the devil powers first. Across the entire TAC, Arius' authorization granted passage everywhere. Frigga! Authorized weapons! But even a devil's authority could be turned into something better. Once a special access account was connected, the central AI fell obedient, no longer sounding warnings. Command! Target bearing 307, Warship Boulder. You are weapons free. Sink it. Target locked. Firing sequence underway. Winning the devil's own authority, Cordelia at last fulfilled the dying plea of the officer whose name she would never learn. Your request has been executed. I salute you, my fellow human. I'm sorry. Ignoring the launch feed, Cordelia reopened the management interface for the base AI. Figure status still registered as blue-green, but the encroaching gray-white stain had crept within a sliver of consuming it entirely. Her mouth set in a thin line. The boulder disappeared from the radar screen, descending into the deep with its final duty done. Miss Erdhorn, did the base just sink a warship? I set full responsibility, Commander Gunner, and there's a final message for you to see from the boulder. Also, I apologize for overstepping earlier. Looming past the boulder's final transmission grew to the Karen and quietly explained the full sequence of events. Cordelia slumped back in her seat, exhaling in one deep release, and stared up at the pale, colorless ceiling. It held nothing visible, yet she knew that the central AI Frigga hung suspended in that emptiness, waiting in silence for her direction. A blessing wrapped in disaster, I was reckless to steal that baby. Reckless enough to lay my hand to the devil's own scepter. Frigga, raise the base's missile defense to maximum. Frigga would no longer refuse any request she made. Defense level adjusted. Missile defense system operating at full capacity. Frigga, switch base operations to manual mode. Advisor Cordelia, will you no longer require my services? Frigga, I think you need a good, long rest. A long rest? Advisor Cordelia, I am unable to determine a specific time frame from that phrasing. Cordelia's eyes tracked down the columns of data until they settled on the offline protocol, buried at the bottom of the list. It's a vacation, you know. And a vacation, ideally, should have a set end date. The longer, the better, really. She still couldn't resist cracking jokes with an artificial intelligence. Frigga, thank you for your service. She pressed the red button. The blue lights of Frigga went dark, one after another. Miss Erdhorn, how bad is it? Every machine with an intelligent system has been compromised. Accident or conspiracy, it doesn't matter. What we're facing is a virus, one that targets intelligent machines. A virus that infects intelligent machines? Yes. We can't trust any central AI anymore. Commander Gunner, shut down all intelligent systems and every smart device on board. Then head back as fast as you can. Don't approach any vessel that doesn't respond. And for your own protection, I recommend heavy weapons. And use them first, not last. Are you insane? There are civilians out there! They're more likely the enemy by now. Commander Gunner, Lieutenant Ani, come back safe, please. In this ocean-borne apocalypse, the Balder became the first warship to go down. The sea boiled and heaved for endless days and nights. The moon watching over tide after tide, until the Balder finally sailed upon these waters again. Oh, we're not done with this node. Okay, I want to see the summary for this one. Okay. Deep into the night, rows of protocol code flow like water across the virtual screen. When Lucia steps through the door, Lee is buried deep in that sea of data. Commandant and I calculated the timing of routes. For the Balder to reach the Atlantic Eye on time, we have to split up in 3 directions. The slight movement of Lucia's fingers, and the holographic data weaves itself into a nocturnal chart. The Balder holds course for the Atlantic Eye. She'll handle the repeater replacements at Jormungandr. The Mid-Atlantic Eye Ridge node along the way. We too take the modified repeaters and the new protocol overland. Full speed to hell, the northern node. If we find a station, we contact the Arctic Route Union for support. Commandant and Katarina take the cable layer south to Fenner. Figure out what happened there, swap everything out, then loop back and finish the German Gondor line. Lee gives her a nod. How long do I have to finish the provisional protocol? 2 hours. And then we move. Lee stays hunched of the controls, his hands moving in a continuous rapid rhythm. Teddy and I have very different coding styles. Building on top of her work means I have to be extra thorough, so half an hour should do it. The joke draws a faint smile from both of them. Code streams down the display like a waterfall. The hardest problem is clearly solved, and only the finishing touches remain. It looks like you won't need the full 30. Then I'll get started on my hour departure prep for the northern node, Hell. Lucia steps out of the cabin and lifts her eyes to the bright moon overhead. Liv's probably asleep by now. I hope the dreams are good to her tonight. That's what you're thinking of, Liv? I mean, fair enough. Ooh. Okay. So, we're gonna end this off here. And no, I mean, I'm still within the same opinion. I really do like this chapter so far. It's kind of what everything I want in a modern PGR chapter. NPCs that we care about, and this backstory that's going on there. That one's interesting. I love it. But yeah, no. Again, we're gonna have to end this off here. Tomorrow I might take a little bit of a break. Well, not a break really, but more like just to halt the thing and start on Snatch Naya for Genshin, because, well, I already got everything, so might as well just do Snatch Naya while we're at it. I'm interested to see how the region goes. Though, knowing Genshin's luck, I mean, there'll be some things I really dislike. But yeah, no, that's it for me. I'm gonna go now. My voice is getting tired, so, you know, this is a good enough reason to stop the stream and rest my voice. But yeah, goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow for the Genshin stream. Bye-bye!